listen, I don't want to be a YouTube golfer, but we got to start somewhere. I'm not going to be posting every single day. I want to be posting as much as my practice allows me to. I like sharing my journey. I like helping other people where I can. And I honestly like putting myself on display because I believe that to be great, there's some quote about Conor McGregor saying something about make it public. And I've learned this through my years of mental performance studying, and making it public and making it known that what you want to do is a really important step of accomplishing what you want to do. Because if you don't, then you kind of allow yourself to get lazy. And I don't want to allow myself to get lazy. The thing that holds me back the most from competing on the PGA Tour, competing on the Korn Ferry Tour, and being at the highest level of my golf game that I could possibly be is self-control and discipline. And so if I can find an edge to improve on that in any way I can, I will. So sharing my journey on YouTube is going to be a part of that. Maybe I will do it every day. Maybe that will keep me more accountable. We'll see. Checking out some of these numbers today. This is a 50-yard wedge shot. I did 10 of them, and we're trying to see what our averages would be. We had a couple of slow starts, but then towards the end there, you can see all that red. Those were some really good numbers to finish, including one that went in the hole. So that's what we're looking at today. And honestly, I'm going to be going through 50 to 75, 75 to 125. We're going to do a few different segments with a few different clubs to kind of see where we're at. I'm not expecting to be perfect here. I'm not expecting to be, within 3 feet as it is here for every single one of these categories. But I do want to see, and I will check at the end where the PGA Tour average is, because that's where I want to get to. I want to get to the PGA Tour. I want to be competing on the PGA Tour. So to shoot for that goal, I think is really realistic for me now. I don't think that's a realistic goal for somebody who's like a 12 handicap or even a 5 handicap. I think you got to go for the next best thing, right? For me, that next level is the Korn Ferry and PGA Tour. So I'm going to be basing off of that. For you, it might not be the same thing, but you just take the next best step that you can and go to that. It's about a little, a lot, not a lot, a little. All right, so I realized that that was not the average I was looking at for my 3-footers, for my 50-yarders, by the way. This is standard deviation, I guess. I actually don't know what that means, but average 10.7 feet, only 2 inside that 5-foot margin that I would like for myself. Obviously not every time, but I think that's not a bad thing to shoot for. So 10.7, I'll have to check what it was for the 50-yarders, but not a great start, I'd say. I'd like a little bit more demand over my wedge shots, from especially inside 100 yards, so we'll keep working at it. All right, so this is the 100-yard shot. Use a sand wedge for this one. Take a look at the table. We are 11.3 feet away from the hole. Wait, honestly, it's not too bad. We're kind of improving on that category. We had a couple inside 5 feet as well, or around 5 feet in that red number area, which is solid. So keep moving up the ladder. I think the next one's 110. I think I'm gonna stick with a sand wedge for that. So I've done 2 shots with the lob wedge. It is important to know how to hit a 50, 75 inside 100-yard shot with something other than a lob wedge as well. You want to be versatile, but for today we're just going to work on those 2 distances, because typically I would say from 50 and 75 yards I'm hitting a lob wedge. I'm almost never hitting a lob wedge from 100 yards, so we'll hit a sand wedge from 100 and 110, and then a gap wedge for the rest, until our last 2 clubs will do one with pitching wedge and one with 9-iron. All right, so the next panel of shots was all right. We had one almost in the hole. We had one 5.6 away. What I wanted to talk about with this drill is that sometimes you can get the trend starts to be that the first couple of shots are pretty bad, and then the next couple, like the last couple shots, are pretty good, which we've seen with the other wedges. But take a look at this. This one, the first couple of shots were pretty good, and then the last one, I de-greened it. I didn't hit the green with the wedge, which is that's a bad shot. So it's not always gonna be the same with this drill, but I would caution you to not, if you're gonna do this drill, which I hope that watching this video you might actually start to implement this if you have the tools or if you have any means necessary. Don't waste the first few shots, count them, because going through your full routine, stepping into that first shot is gonna be really important. You don't need to do it for every single shot if you don't have the time. I would say it's important. I'm not doing it right now, but that's also another area of work that's really, really important to improve your game. But yeah, the first couple shots matter, so don't let it just be, a wide margin and then start to narrow down towards the end. Do your best to really be fully present for every shot, and yeah. So something really interesting happened on that one. I actually did what I mentioned in the last clip, the process before the shot. I kind of went through it a little bit more. So I tried to take a deep breath on a focal point, step into my shot, and then hit, as opposed to just dragging a ball and hitting and dragging a ball and hitting. Because when we're on the course and we're playing tournaments, we don't just have the luxury of dragging another ball and hitting it and getting into a groove. So I think it's really important to practice that process, and the results were not what you might think. I had said before that when you do that, you produce better results, but 19 feet away, 14, 23, 20, 21. There were some shots in there where I really kind of started to feel the pressure of an actual golf shot, the pressure of an actual tournament, where I was simulating what that feels like, and it made me a little less dialed. I was a little more nervous going into that. Now, that could be one of two things. That could be that it's telling me that I am overthinking when I'm over the ball, which is a great indicator, and sometimes you need to do things that maybe kind of start to just kind of fix that. But sometimes it's just to show, hey, you need more practice under pressure. So whatever you can do to simulate how you actually play, the better. So for the rest of this drill, I have the time. I'm going to be going through it. I'm going to be standing behind the shot and then walking into it, just like I would do on the course. Kind of get through that part of my process a little bit more to kind of make it feel like an actual golf shot in real life. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Still a couple good shots in there though. Finished with some nice ones, and then an average of 12.3. Okay, so this last batch was pretty interesting too. Didn't hit quite how I wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna take out this one. Damn it, it was our best one too. All right, we're gonna delete that one. Because I went over average 12, 11. This wasn't a terribly great amount of shots, wasn't a terribly bad amount of shots. I'd say this one wasn't great. We degreened that one as well. But I went through my process again. I stuck to it the whole time. I think making sure that once you've committed to it, you stay committed to it. Don't bail out at the last second or anything like that. It's like, this is the shot you've decided to hit. This is the swing length that you've decided on, and just go for it. Because it's better to hit a incorrect number confidently than try to hit the correct number without confidence. There's a better way to say that. My coach always just said, I'd rather you hit a confident shot to the wrong spot than a non-confident shot to the correct target, because it doesn't matter where you aim. If you're not feeling good about it, whether it's club, wind, what you've decided on, it's not going to be a good shot 9 out of 10 times. So that's a good indication to step off, re-go through your routine, and then go hit a better shot. So that's what I should have done on a few of these. All right, so an interesting last batch there. This was from 150 yards. Only one shot inside the red, average of 17 and a half basically. This was a pitching wedge. It was going from 130 to 150 yards, so it was also more of a full shot. So obviously room to improve. Obviously there's some adjustments I can make on this club. This was my first like full swingy feel. 155 yards is really my full swing pitching wedge, but 150 is only a click off that, maybe between 3/4 and full, basically just a smooth full. So yeah, it definitely got a little farther away from the hole. I could work on this number for sure. Definitely one I've struggled with in the past as well. But 150 yards is really common, so I got to get better at that. That's gonna pop up a lot. I'd say that will probably pop up more than 60 yards. And I can control, most of the time I can control not hitting it to 60 yards if I want to. 150, a lot of par 3s that are 150, a lot of par 4 shots in the greens that are 150. That one you just got to get better at. So. All right, so we have our last set of numbers here with the 9-iron full swing, 170-yard shot. Definitely improvement from the pitching wedge as far as dispersion. We got an average of 17 and a half, which is basically the exact average of our pitching wedge. So that's good. There was a couple close ones. I started to realize towards the end of this one that my full swings are a little too down on the ball. I could tell that the attack angle was a little bit off, and that's something I definitely want to work on. So we're gonna go write these numbers down, maybe do a little bit of work on that, and then go see it on a range. We're gonna go to the range, we're gonna hit some shots, because I think honestly hitting in a simulator is great for a lot of purposes, and I'm really blessed to still have access to this facility a little bit, but it's nothing like seeing a ball fly actually outside. Now the ranges that we have down here aren't fantastic, but it's just it gets you out of hitting into a wall, and technically, I would say typically, when I'm hitting into a simulator, I have a tendency to kind of just get a little more scrunched, because I feel like I'm in an enclosed space, which I am. Now this one's pretty big, which is great. I mean, we've got a lot of room here, but I still like to get outside and see that ball and visualize that ball flying, even if it isn't perfect every single time. So that's what we're gonna do next. I've been running out of luck, yeah. Most productive. I feel kind of like I've wasted the day if I sit there. Sometimes I can. This morning I did. Different time zone. I did some research on PGAtour.com, and it seems like I'm using the wrong subset. I think that I'm using a lot of references from, Scotty Scheffler's 1,286 attempts versus my 10, and my 10 in the lab with no real pressure, and him actually being in the tournament hitting these shots, and all these other guys that I'm trying to base up the average off of. But what I can do, and what I do have, is my subset of shots that I used today, and I know how far the proximities I ended up at, and I can use those as an average. I can use those as a starting point, and every day I'll try to continue to work to be better than that and better than that, and small incremental improvements, 1% better over a long period of time. That's what makes really good players, and that's what makes really good performance and really great results. So we'll continue to work on the process of getting there, and I'll use what I have. And if there's going to be better methods along the way that'll help me to kind of get more accurate numbers, I'm very open to that. If any of you guys have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. Again, this is kind of not really for you guys, it's more so for me to try to keep myself accountable and continue to improve and to not get lazy. And so I'm glad you guys are along with me for the journey, though. Please like and subscribe. To all my 86 subscribers that are already here, appreciate you. See you next time.